Hi guys, this is Vikrant Mahesh. I'm the founder and CEO at Orcasho. I'm doing this recording as per a lot of people have requested it so that they can view it later. But please be noted, this will be the last free promotional lecture. After this, I would only be providing these lectures whoever is enrolled in our routines, because it makes more sense, because we all can discuss together and how it's going about. And these routines will include consultations, free shipping, free packaging, and also tracking you, like reminding you every time whenever you're going to take a particular set or not. So it'll also have these innovative lectures. And please also note that these lectures are only based on scientific citations and not based on hearsay. So you will have scientific citations on every lecture that I provide, and also relating to the modern terms and how these citations can relate to our routines and how it can make it better along with it. So that is the idea here. Since the Ayurvedic field is not so developed in the scientific area, our goal is to be doing this. Okay. So what is Orcasho actually? See, our main motto in Orcasho is to inspire the current Indian community to redefine their human living. So, what does that mean? It means that to come out of the traditional basis of food habits and food timings. That's it. That's the only goal we have. There's nothing too dramatic about it. We just want to change the food timings and the food intake and the understanding of how supplements work. They are not medications. There are medications in Ayurveda, but some are not medications. So we're concentrating on that. Okay. So who am I? See, I'm the founder and CEO of Orcasho. So as it's written here, I have various experiences in my life because I started working very early in my life, and I did my engineering from RB College. Then I finished my masters in University of Sussex and did my thesis with BMW. And my major concentration was, although I was from mechanical engineering, I was more into fluid dynamics and chemistry. Going forward, I also worked as a recruiter and also as a business development associate during the time that I was trying for a fellowship for 2.5 years. Marie Curie Fellowship is one of the best fellowships on the planet, and I took a lot of time to get it. And I was the 2016 batch, which was 30 in the world who got selected. You can check all the information here. You can check on these links, and I was ESR2, and it describes there what I was meant to do. I was basically working on microscopic analysis of how fluids behave and how the chemistry of the fluids influence it. Luckily for me, I had a chance to be in one of the best universities, type with the best professors, and publish something substantial in one of the top journals. It's called ACS. You can click on the journal link here. With all my experiences combined, I was basically a fundamental science guy. What does that fundamental science mean? That will cover later, the differences, because I want to clear the cliche to people. Basically, I deal with fundamental chemistry, so it doesn't matter whether you give me liquid, any types of liquid. I only work on the chemistry. I don't mind what it's named or anything. I only work on the fundamental elements of it and see how they work. Okay, so that is fundamental chemistry, and I come from a research and scientific background, not the applied science background. Okay, so I've been experimenting with these Ayurvedic routines for over 3 years right now on myself, on how cleansing can happen. I have more than 76 followers before I even incorporated the company in January of this year. Okay, so what is my main goal? I'm a quite a driven guy in terms of curiosity. I would like to solve big problems, but also basic problems. I'm not the kind of a guy who wants to land on Mars, but I'm a kind of a guy who would want to land on Mars, thinking I'm absolutely sure I won't be able to, but on the verge of doing it, I know that I'm going to invent something special, and that's how research works. It's not based on guarantee, it's based on extreme assertiveness on doing something exquisite that has not been done before. Okay, so let's go ahead. Now, here I want to cover some misconceptions that people have, especially in the Indian society. Okay, I know this because I worked across the world in different labs, and I worked with people with all kinds of work ethics. So here are some misconceptions that I want to clear up in the start. Okay, I'm not an allopathic doctor or an Ayurvedic doctor. Okay, so these come from applied science. Okay, so the hierarchy is such that there is research, there is applied science, and then there is production. Okay, so I work on research. So who is a researcher or a scientist? We call ourselves scientists or researchers. Basically, we are a bunch of people who work on fundamental things in nature and try and see what can be changed at a fundamental level so that we can implement that in the realistic world. So what happens is, if you go to a doctor, they would prescribe you something, but they didn't invent it. They do not know the actual mechanism behind it in depth. Okay, but they are required so that when you go for with a headache or something, an Ayurvedic doctor would give you something else, an allopathic doctor could give you from the allopathic world. Okay, so that's applied science. We are into fundamental science. We are the people who invent this particular tablet, and we have a scientific citation to say why we do this. There are experimental trials that's done on oneself or a group of people or animals that has shown presence, and we have published something on it, and we reference each other's citation in order to prove this to a point where it is imaginable and doable. Okay, so I'm a scientist from fundamental chemistry and specifically thermofluid dynamics. Thermofluid dynamics is basically, as the name suggests, is the flow of liquids anywhere. Okay, it's in your body, outside, whatever. Okay, so let's say a cardiac surgeon will know how a heart works. Okay, but a fluid dynamist will know how the blood works, although he doesn't want to care about the medical aspects of the heart, because at the fundamental level you need pressure and you need temperature to make something work in your system. Without these two, it doesn't work. That is more of a scientific agenda. But if you go to a cardiac doctor, he'll more worry about how the ventricles are, the quality of the heart is, okay, or what rate are they pumping. So those are all applied part of it. Okay, so I do thermofluid mechanics, and in that I have worked with engines, we have worked with Newtonian fluids, and we have worked with bodily fluids too. Okay, so other than that, I work the chemistry aspect of it. How does the water change if I add honey to it? Just to simplify things to you, but if you read my paper, you'll see the complex mathematical derivations that take to reach that point. Okay, but it's too complex for this discussion, so we are going to skip that. But you can go read the paper if you have patience. It's very expensive to buy, and if you could buy it, you could read it. I would encourage you to buy it. If not, you can reach out to me. I will send you a copy of my publication in viscosity generations in diesel fluids. Okay, so we are researchers, and my goal is to provide explanation formulations using scientific research papers and citations. That is what we do here. This is the missing gap that I want to miss in the Ayurvedic field, because Ayurveda is one of the fields that has become a tradition right now more than a scientific analysis, and allopathy is more become like the medicine that everybody hates. That's not true. We need allopathy as much as Ayurveda. They work in two different ways, and one has speed, the other one does not have speed, it has sustainability. So the sustainability is Ayurveda, speed and immediate action is allopathy. So we need them both, and I feel the allopathic doctors are more incorporated into organic chemistry. At least they have one subject. How do I know this? Because my father and my sister both are doctors, and my dad was an ENT surgeon. So of course, so they are more deep into, if you take the Ayurvedic part of the education and see their curriculum, there's no much of organic chemistry there. So there is no way that they know the enzyme kinetic reactions involved in it. We are going by trial and error there. That is good. That's how we reach conclusions. But if you do not have a theory on how to get to that point, it doesn't work. For example, Einstein can say gravity works, but unless he can prove theory of relativity with E equals mc square, it doesn't matter. There's no theory to apply it. Okay, that is what a scientist does. So we will explain and implicate fundamental chemistry perspective, okay, on how Ayurvedic things work. Yes, I've been following it for over 3 years, as I've explained below. So how does it boil down? As I explained before, researchers publish academic journal based on their visions. There is no journal that's published without peer acceptance. So it's a very scrutinized procedure in order to do that. And top journals with top impact factors are very rare. That's one of the credibility that I sustain, that I got to work with one of the best people on the planet, and we got it in ACS, that's American Chemical Society. Okay. So based on this, the allopathic and Ayurvedic doctor does applied science. So basically, that's how it's boiled down, as I explained before, right? We invent something, the manufacturers manufacture it, and the doctors apply it based on the symptoms that you have. That's where it ends. But we require them equally because scientists do not practice it, but doctors do. Okay, but I see that including my own parents, my dad and my sister, they lack the scientific understanding behind it. They would say, I would give this if they have this. Okay, so that's like saying, you know what, I'm going to put this and not knowing the why and the how. That's the scientific part. So I want to get the scientific part into the applied sector. So I want to make sure that I educate and get people to this zone in a very simplified manner, because the scientific parts are very, very complex. So one of the examples, simple example, Edison invented the bulb, and then the engineers, like practicing doctor, now create the blueprint to manufacture it and provide it to people. And the service industry services it and puts it in the right houses. So here is the list of scientific. Okay, so for all the Ayurvedic supplements that we sell on the platform, we do not manufacture it. I repeat again, we do not manufacture it. We tie up with one of the best brands possible that I have tried myself, and the followers even before I incorporated the companies have been trying it. Okay, so we do not recommend all companies. It has to go through our process. We provide to the universities in Bangalore to test them, and only them those supplements are here. We have just 25 supplements there, but all 25 are not part of the routines either, but they are more in the advanced stages and advanced molecular levels. Okay, so you can click on the link and see scientific citations in the references. Without a reference, we do not put a particular Ayurvedic elements. Let's put that clear. Okay, so what are we known for? We are known for the metabolic cleansing routines. Okay, so we have 3 routines. Our main goal is very simple. Let's simplify from this slide onwards. We want to clean your gut, and it's a simple procedure, and we want to make sure that how simple it is and how counterintuitive it is, and people have been avoiding it. Okay, so we have 3 parts: bowel cleansing, accelerated routine, and Skin-Pore routine, and we will get on to it as we go on towards the slides. So what is the current problem we have? The current problem is, the first thing is the Indian diet timing. Okay, we eat 3 times a day. We think that's the best way to eat it because we're eating from many decades, but that's not true. So just imagine you eat at 8:30. This is a normal routine. Okay, 8:30, then you eat at 1:30, and then you have a supper, and then nice bit of chitty chat, and you want to eat chips, you want to eat your tea, and then you have dinner again at maybe 8:30 or 9, or some people 10. Come on, just think that you're a digestive system. You pumped in 3 idlis and a dosa. Okay, and then your body is trying to work on it. It needs time. Okay, that's called metabolic rate, right? And it's trying to dissolve it. When by that time you're going to eat at 1 o'clock, you're going to put more. What's going to happen to the remaining part of the food? It does not have time to do it, so it's going to just store it. And then later, then you're going to eat again, then you're going to eat again. Each time when you eat, insulin is pumped so that it can be digested in a simplistic point of view. Okay, so we want to change this routine, give the body enough time so that it can digest it. You give it time, and that too, the metabolic rate drops as you age, which we'll cover later. Second, high carb intake. 90% of the Indian population are in high carb intake, unlike the European counterpart. Okay, they also have carb intake, but there is brown carbs, there is white carbs. Okay, we blame on their bread, that is mostly brown carb. Okay, the bread that they bake. But here we have a high carb intake, especially white carbs, refined rice carb. What does this do? We have links even on our website for this from Dr. Berg. He's one of the experts in it. You can check it out. So what happens is, if you ingest white carbs, the problem is you're pumping excess insulin, and these carbs do not dissolve really fast. Then what happens? You excrete just 10% of it, and the rest is just stored for the next day. And now there is some amount of carbs that's remaining that's going to cause a lot of stagnation in your stomach and your gut area. That is why you get a tummy and you got a lot of inflammation that's happening. The bowel movements are not happening. The carb intake should be reduced, but I have found a way to make sure that the carb also can work. You can still take your idlis right now and still make things work, because we all love our rice. Even I love my rice, so we don't have to worry about it right now. I have found a way to make sure this works along with our routines. Third point, negligence towards digestive system. Exactly, whatever I said. You don't care about it because it just does its job. Just think about it. You have a car engine and you don't service it. It's working at 5,000 RPM. That is 5,000 revolutions per minute. That's what RPM means. Okay, that's how many times it revolves per minute, right? So what does it keep it happening? Basically, the oiling system inside it, the pressure system that is maintained, right? Now, just imagine if you don't service it and if you don't replace the oil and other fragments of it, you're going to ruin it. Just like your digestive system, you just eat your samosas and whatever trash you want to eat along with excess carbs, thinking that it's healthy, and then you know what, you don't do anything to it. Tell me one person who has spent some time cleansing it really, like every day. Not one. Okay, and you expect it to work for the rest of your life? How does a car engine maintain its performance if you don't service it at all? And already it's aging and we don't service it at all. Please understand, let's not get connected to tradition and culture and emotions here. The body is a mechanical system, and especially the digestive system is completely mechanical. It has to be taken care of just like the car engine. Okay, the sophistication is much deeper, which I cannot cover here, but if you sit on my lectures, I will go much deeper and deeper into it. Misconceptions about Ayurveda. See, in Ayurveda, everybody knows the names is very fascinating. Okay, I've seen people quote gods to it, deities to it. This is the problem we have. It is a chemical, just like allopathy. Okay, it's just that it is natural form completely. That is the only difference. We can derive all components like from neem. Let's say we take components of neem, molecular components from neem. We can also artificially make that. Okay, we can make that artificially even with the allopathic way. It's just that it is man-made and this is more natural. That's the only difference it has. The man-made, we have control over how fast it can work. This is more sustainable. You have to take it over a long period of time. It has to circulate in your bloodstream. So let's treat Ayurveda as another form of chemistry and not tradition, and not say, okay, let's take this fruit and there is B12 and we just take it. No, it doesn't work like that. I'll just cover that part later. Okay, that's what I covered with tradition and culture. Now, what's the solution to this? Well, the solution is to have a combination of this. First, let people try the Ayurvedic cycles that we have. Then we can have consultations, group consultations, where we can all communicate together and see what's happening, what is actually doing. I mean, what's actually making this thing work. Then we can have lectures on deep levels of biochemistry. And one art form that I would like to have is I can explain the most complex chemistry in very simplistic terms. That's what a best scientist should do. Okay, even if you talk to Einstein, he would talk to a little kid about E equals mc square, just like talking to the most upgraded professor. So that is what we are going to do here. Okay, so I want to connect these two worlds here. I want to connect the layman world with the scientific world. The applied doctors can come in the middle and they can also make sure that that they understand this part, because they're already done their part in the applied part. Okay, we also want to investigate on how digestive system is abused over time in detail. Okay, provide solutions to fix or improve the digestive system. Okay, this is another part we want to address. All right, so let's go to the next one. Let's go to the misconceptions of it. This is quite important right now. So people use Ayurvedic products individually and Google it to expect to work. So we did a research on close to, I think, around 106 people last year. Okay, just spread in a Google form, talk to people. The first thing they tell is, I googled it. I googled that chicory is going to help in digestion system, or they would Google it and say, oh, you know what, I'm going to take Triphala and this is going to happen. Or if they'll go to a doctor, depending on the Ayurvedic doctor. I'm not blaming any Ayurvedic doctor here. Just like allopathic field, here also there are some people who are pretty ignorant. Not that they want to be, it's just that that's what they've studied and they've seen it work over a period of time, but sometimes it doesn't work. So we want to know why it is. Okay, they go to a doctor and they say, okay, let's take Triphala, it's going to help in digestion. But let me tell you something, just very simplistic terms. Okay, if you're a kid from, let's say you're born to up to 20 years old, they say that the kid can even digest plastic. You know why? Because the metabolic rate, it's like a new car engine. You can ram it as much as you want and it just works. Okay, you can do anything. But don't you think with age, at least the car is getting a service. Here you're not even getting service, your metabolic rate is dropping, but your amount of intake is increasing, because increasing in body size, right? So what happens in this problem is, if you give Triphala to a 17-year-old boy, he's going to absorb much better and much faster. It's all about absorption and the rate at which it absorbs, the time period that it can take to absorb, compared to the 55-year-old who's taking the same Triphala. And how can it work? It's simply not possible. What is the only way to do it? The only way to do it is to make sure that you maintain at least certain part of the metabolic rate. That is what our routines do. That's it. They make sure that they cleanse your system, just like servicing your car engine, and make sure that your metabolic rate is maintained. What does that mean? Does that mean when you're 55, you'll have a metabolic rate of 17-year-old? No. See, from 20 to 30, you lose around 20% of your servicing capability in your digestive system. From 30 to 40, little bit more. 40 to 50, it's counterintuitive. I think you can understand, right? What we do is, with our routines, just like changing the oil in your car and maintaining your service in your car, our routines, if you take on a regular basis, or even if you want to give a 6-month taking or a 6-month break, that's also fine. What happens is, it gives your body a chance to maintain the metabolic rate, because cleansing is happening. The rest of the fluids are generated by your body itself. Unlike the car where you have to put the fluid, here we can generate it because the body is capable of doing. That's 10,000 years of evolution. Okay, more than that actually, right? So what our metabolic routines do is, they maintain these metabolic rates by keeping your gut serviced. That's all. We don't care about vitamins. We don't care about all the C. We are the people who want to keep your soil ready for your trees. We don't care what you plant. We want to know what the plant is, but we want to keep the soil ready for it. That's our job. Okay, rain is not in our job. Okay, so we don't care about rain. That's left to, that's left to the universe. We want to make sure that you come and tell me, Vikrant, I want my farm to be ready because I want to grow these plants. I'm going to make sure the soil is ready. That's all. I don't care about the plant. It's up to you to take care of the plant. Okay, so that is what we do. So we got to understand this criteria. The third point refers to the same. Cleansing equals changing your metabolic routine and maintaining a high percentage of metabolic routine at a given age range. That's it. That's the only thing we do, and we will do for the next decade. We want to implement this among the Indian community, and we want to redefine human nature itself in doing this, because we all want to live and be happy. Why do you want to be like that when you can do certain simple things and very inexpensive things? That you are in India, you have the best natural supplements possible. I wouldn't call it Ayurveda. Okay, people have made a mockery of it. It's just another form of natural chemistry. Okay, so what is the stagnation point? Let's make it very simple right now. Okay, very simple. The first stage would be more of a raw form. Okay, just like in your stomach, as we can see here, right? So it will be more stagnation. Just imagine, just think about it yourself. You're eating idli for 10 years, right? And you're maintaining your regular type of eating. So what's happening? Your insulin is getting pumped and it is getting used, and you cannot digest. Some parts remain. It remains in your stomach. It gets stagnated. And then what happens? The stagnation is slowly pushed to the next level, to your large intestine. It causes obstruction, as you see here. And then it forms constipation. Right? So the problem is, this is often around 70 to 75% of the population, right? Because you don't want to change the way you eat. You like what you eat, and it's mostly carbs. So how do we cleanse this part? We have to cleanse it, right? So let's go ahead, and these are the two stages of stagnation we want to deal with. Let's not get confused. What is our point here? We want to clean your stomach. We want to clean your large intestine. That's the next stage, right? Now the second stage would be the skin, the biggest organ in your body, right? So this is mostly external driven, right? So understand this, okay? It's very simple but interesting form of, this is thermofluid mechanics, you can call it, okay? So let's say you're walking in a street, okay? And then what happens? It was very hot, okay? And suddenly you entered a house and it has air conditioning close to 16 degrees and it's very cold. See, understand this. What is the job of your body? Your body is to maintain the temperature of your body so that everything can function, right? Now, in order to do this, you can know that the skin pores open and close so that to release heat or to take in heat when it's cold, or even to release water in the form of sweat, right? Because when you're working out. Now, in the form of doing this, it is forced. When these pores are open, the external pollution gets absorbed in it. The microscopic description is here, and the scientific description is here, and the paper will be cited down. Okay, so when this is happening, what happens is, just imagine you have the biggest organ and now there are layers of pollution settled in your pores. We want to deal with this at a second stage. First is your gut, your stomach, and your intestines, then comes your skin. So we want to deal with these both. Okay, this is our focus. This will always be our focus. Let's not complicate with anything else. It's only cleaning, 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 cleaning. Okay, so now let's get to intermittent fasting. That was the goal for this particular lecture. Okay, I focused on the previous ones because we want to see how these both combine now. Okay, so let's make our lifestyles better. Let's get intelligent enough, let's get better enough. I would not say intelligent, more aware is the question. Okay, so let's see here I've mentioned a few points from intermittent fasting. The paper is pretty huge and complex. There's a reference link on top. Click on the blue links. Those are all links. You can read the paper at your gesture and see all the references that I have been referencing here. My job here is to simplify for you in terms of time relevance and to pick a few points from the paper and say why it is credible to have intermittent fasting. Okay, see, the thing is, just like I was explaining before, intermittent fasting, what is intermittent fasting? It's a fancy term. It's basically like cutting down in time. Okay, see, intermittent fasting does only one thing. Okay, don't get confused. It just does only one thing. It just gives your body enough time to digest whatever you have consumed. That's it. Okay, there's no specific time fixation to it. It's just common sense. Okay, it's like this: you want to boil water, you need to give it enough time. If you put a bigger pot of water with that small gas, small bit of heating source, you need more time, right? That is intermittent fasting. Okay, now we want to make sure that your lifestyle is changed somehow, at least using our routines that will allow you to do intermittent fasting. The problem with intermittent fasting is hunger issue, but with my routines you can overcome it over a period of time. Don't expect it to work. Oh my god, I took it today, oh my god, still I'm hungry. No, the difference between allopathy and Ayurveda is sustainable but slow. Allopathy is immediate, which is required. You go to a doctor once shit hits the fan. That's what happens. They need to give you that. So do not blame an allopathic doctor, because my own parents are. Okay. So the second, in this lecture, we will also cover actual factual data. Please go and refer to the paper. I can't put it in one slide. From the World Health Organization, that is WHO, most of the COVID patients were obese. That's 90%. When I say obese, don't just think of obesity. What they mean is who do not have a good metabolic rate. Please note the word. The paper is focused on not having metabolic rate resulting in COVID. Okay, all right. So we want to mention a dietary program for it. So in order to maintain metabolic rate and to maintain immunity, see, it's very simple. If you have metabolic rate, you can maintain immunity. What that basically means is your body has enough energy to produce the immunity required to balance it out, to fight the things out. If your body is engaged half the time in digesting and maintaining your own system that is going wrong, how can it have immunity, right? So I am bringing out down to layman terms because it's simple to understand. The point in green I want to focus here. It's very simple. I want to explain. We will do intermittent fasting. I will prove you how this works through this paper. But with my routines, my cleansing routines, we will have constant lectures and consultations. We can accelerate this. We can accelerate this process. Simple Ayurvedic routines. Okay. So here is the World Health Census. We can see that the adults age over 18 years old worldwide, over 650 million people were all obese. And those are the people who got affected here. The vaccination were poor and dysfunctional because obviously, right? Just imagine your body is right now, metabolic rate has dropped. Okay, why does vaccination is not working properly in some and properly in few? Do not blame allopathy again. Do not blame vaccination or its efficacy rate. Come on. Just imagine your body has very low metabolic rate. Metabolic means what? To convert something so that it can be absorbed by your body. Understand the definition again. To convert something using heat or certain chemical reactions to be absorbed by your bloodstream. First through your stomach and then your bloodstream or directly in your bloodstream, right? Now what happens is, if the metabolic rate itself is low and on top of that you're eating and eating and eating, and it's busy doing that, you think it's going to care about your vaccination? It comes in the end. Same thing with triphala. You eat triphala, there's no intermittent fasting, nothing, and you're eating 3 times. Your body is going to say, okay, fine, I'm going to take the idlis first, and I don't care about triphala, so it goes down the shit. That's it. Okay. So therefore, more than ever, the world would benefit right now with intermittent fasting. That to the disease right now, I know it's going down, but you know what? You don't want to wait for it to come back, right? That's pretty stupid, correct? So we want to find compelling evidence. So this study has shown compelling evidence. So please take a look at the paper. But I want to suggest what the evidence is. Okay, it's very simple. It's just complexly explained there. It just says there were some people who were clinically tested with all age groups. Even animals were tested with intermittent fasting, injected with the virus, which means humans were not injected. Okay, they already had the COVID thing, and they studied how fast the vaccine reacted to it, and people noticed the people who did intermittent fasting, it was much better than the others. That's how simple it is. Okay, now let's get to the final part. Okay, now let's take the intermittent fasting part. This is from the paper, you can go check in the reference, and we can also see here in the paper it clearly describes that, you know, intermittent fasting is very good here, and you know, obviously it's pretty obvious. Of course the scientific part of the explanation is too complex, which you would not need, and you have the paper to read for it. Okay, now just imagine in a counterintuitive manner, please listen to me carefully. Okay, you do this, nobody is stopping you, do the intermittent fasting. Okay, the problem is, what is the problem? It's like this. Okay, your car is getting serviced, you're just servicing it, but what if you have an option to put a better oil so that it can cleanse your car better and maintain your car fluidity better, okay, your car engine parts better? That's exactly what our routines do. We make sure your combination of intermittent fasting and this, okay, we can also control different timings because of the diet, because you won't feel hungry after you get used to this, because you know why? These cleansing routines are going to increase your metabolic rate. So what does that mean? Let's take this cake for example. This cake, let's say a 55-year-old consumed, he can only absorb 10%, 30% just remains there for next day digestion, and the rest comes out in excretion. Now with our routine, what happens is, he will not be required to take this cake again, he won't feel hungry again. The metabolic rate is high enough to absorb 50% with just one small piece instead of having the whole cake, and then the rest can be excreted and nothing can be stagnant. That is the reason we want to use these routines. So with our routines we can do that, and you will be participating if you buy my subscription model for 3 months. It's just at 1915. We'll have lectures like this, we will have consultations, we will follow what's happening with you, and you will get our routines too, all 3 routines together, and it's packaged. So that's, you can see the contents, you can see the brands, you can start taking them, you can get used to a new lifestyle, and I'm proof of it, and all the people that are following right now are also proof of it, which I'll be showing the evidence of one of them. Okay, now what is that bowel cleansing routine? So understand, once again I would like to repeat in the part of lecture, we do not manufacture it. We are tied up with one of the best brands. We have tested it myself and people in my company and my followers. That's when we recommend these brands. We do not want to try and manufacture it, because these are experts who are already doing it. We are trying to fit a combination together. You can see the scientific explanations when you click on these links and the brands. Please go click on these links, go to Neem, go to Tulsi, go to Bowel Care, and see the scientific papers on it, why it is recommended, why the combinations work together. Of course, you can say, I saw about Neem, why can't we take only Neem? It's very simple. Here, Bowel Care is bay leaf. See, what is better even when you cook? You want heat, right? If you put just low flame, how long will it take to cook? What we're going to do is acid. We want to put some acidic elements. Now, don't get scared. Oh, acid. No. Neem and Tulsi are mild, natural acidic levels at some point. They help dissolve bowel care. You need to put something to dissolve it. That is the routine here. That's all. Okay. So the turmeric part, we know it's a natural antiseptic. And that too, this is not the turmeric that you eat, the powder. This is the BCR95, that is the root part. Okay, so these four combined will have a particular effect in cleansing your bowels first, slow cleansing. That is the first part of the stagnation that I stored in the stomach. Okay, the second part is accelerated digestion. Here you have Triphala, but along with this there's digestive enzymes, nothing but 18 herbal leaves crushed together. Okay, probiotic, very simple, I'll tell you in simple terms. You can see the scientific citation too on it, how it helps during COVID times too. It's basically spoiled curd that's put in a capsule. That's the simplest form I can explain. Okay, and this is keto 5x, nothing but green tea extracts. You can see the contents once you ship them, or you can just Google it and see it. Okay, and trust us, we are including all this together. It's cheaper to buy it from us as a package. We'll include all this together rather than buying it individually, but we won't stop you from doing it. Okay, here, why are we using this combination? See, in our lectures, we'll go deeper in each combination, like each Triphala. Here, I cannot explain everything, but I'll tell you in simple terms. Triphala is a very heavy component. So, it's a multi-molecular component. Okay, means it's got many more molecules. It's not as simple as neem. Okay, and you need other elements to dissolve it, like probiotic, which means, probiotic, what does it do? It helps digestion more, right? So, we put it with Triphala. Then keto 5x, again accelerated digestion, as the name suggests, digestive enzymes. All three together are able to make this Triphala absorb. What does that mean? 55-year-old taking only Triphala doesn't get absorbed at all. With this, at least 50% gets absorbed. Makes sense, right? But do you think I would give this combination to a 17-year-old? Never. You would give it only Triphala. That's it. Anybody above 30, they would need this combination because the metabolic rate is dropped and we're not done anything about it. Okay. Last one would be Skin-Pore cleansing. This is very self-explanatory. We have jamun extract. You can Google about the fruit. We call it Nerle Hannu in Kannada. Pomegranate seed and peel. Grape seed, the seed of the grape, which has everything, not the thing, not the main fruit that has the sugar and water. Okay. And then we have hibiscus, very straightforward, petals and leaf. And then we have papaya leaves extract, not the papaya. Let me make it clear in very simple terms. Papaya, by the fruit itself, there's a reason why it's the way it is. It's very simple. In a very simplistic form, it has sugar, water and color. The leaf and the peel and the seeds have it. How will you eat it? You cannot. So we have it in a capsule form. If you people think, oh my God, what are all these capsules going to do to my kidney and liver? Please Google about it. It's going to make your kidney and liver better. Show me one citation where they say, okay, fine, neem, oh my God, it's going to ruin your kidney. Allopathic medications do that. That's the problem they have with allopathy. But they have to, right? Because it has to immediately work. In this, it cleanses your kidney and liver even more. You can Google about it. Just a simple Google. You don't need scientific derivation or allopathic doctor for this. Okay. So this combination is mainly for the skin. Why? Let's cover more in depth in lectures. But to simplify things, here I would explain. Jamun extract and grape seed are very high antioxidants. Okay. Pomegranate and cow colostrum and papaya leaves are basically, they provide a sense of maintaining the fluidity in your stomach. In simple terms, which means that we give enough time for hibiscus to dissolve in it, because that dissolves the last. Okay, because of its molecular competition. Okay, now all four together basically they work in a much higher molecular level. It's not like your bowel cleansing and accelerated. And these make sure you, I mean, people are already sure that you put papaya on your skin. You have papaya masks. You have hibiscus powder for your skin. Pomegranate. The peels are dried in the sun and they put it. Basically, this does it from inside out rather than putting it outside. It's as simple as that. But this combination will allow your skin to detox, not your gut, but your gut should be ready with the first two routines in order to do this. Or you should combine with those routines, which I would recommend. Only then this gets absorbed. These are much higher in molecular compounds. Okay. Once it gets absorbed, only it can do something to your skin pores and cleanse your skin. So that is the Skin-Pore routines. Okay. Now coming to evidence. See, obviously I have no rights to show anyone's evidence. Okay. This is after the permission of one of our keen followers among many. Now you can see this man has bit of he had diabetes and constipation. We can see in the messages here that both have been reduced, and he's been with us for over 3 months now. Okay, so it's simple evidence, it works. Does it mean he stopped allopathy? No, no, you cannot stop it, because you know why? It takes time for your body to adapt with the Ayurvedic medication because it's more natural form, but he needs immediate attention. Okay, so he's consuming it, but as you see in the messages, his sugar levels have dropped, his constipation has reduced over time, and now it's no more. This is what we're focusing on. We're not focusing on magic, we're focusing on servicing the car, we're focusing on servicing your gut system. Okay, the last part. See, I would recommend this will be the last free lecture. I'm repeating, last free lecture. Now we're going to do lectures only for somebody who buys our routines, which will make sense because they'll start consuming it, and we can go deeper on how they affect, and we can form a community and encourage curious discussions, doubts, and curiosity factors, and we'll go interesting much deeper in intermittent fasting, biomolecular mechanisms. All those lectures will be included in this package, including shipping and consultations. We'll have fun group consultations where one can say, dude, it's not working, one can say it's working, why. We can get together and we can make things happen. Okay, so it's just at 1915. One more thing we want to say, why are we doing it? Are we profit driven? See, I don't understand this word of profit. We are not profit driven. We want to increase market share. We want more people to adapt and use it. So even if you buy my medication, you can read the MRP on it. It will be more expensive or equal to the price that we're providing. Apart from that, we're also providing free shipping, packaging, and consultation within India. Okay, let's just say that. If it is abroad, then I have to pay a little bit more. We have to, as a company, we have to incur certain cost for transportation outside India. But within India, all this is free. Okay, and we would also track you. We would contact you through WhatsApp, not some notification. We would contact you and on a human perspective and ask you how you're doing. The complete details on our routines and FAQs are here. To buy, just use this link. To join our WhatsApp group, you can use here because that's where I will post the lectures. Of course, once you buy this, we'll maintain a separate group for people who bought it, and I'll put constant information there, which would be very useful for you, your kids, and the future generation. Let our focus be on, changing human living in India. Okay, we are not worried about anywhere else in India. At least let's start from scratch. And what do we do with this? We're not doing drugs here. We want to change the routines and habits and support it through our own Ayurvedic medication using our own organic farming sectors and brands that support it. Okay, that's it. We also have a referral program. You can see it. If you refer somebody else, we will pay for the rest of the time your friend follows the routine 50% of its value. So let's say it's 1915, right? If you refer a friend, if they follow, let's say for 3 months, all the 3 months, half value of 1995 will be paid to you. If you want to do that, you can also join in that. And it's not a one-shot thing. Let's say he continues with it. Every time he buys, you get 50% of the money. Okay. Anyways, thank you so much. So the lecture will be on YouTube right now. Please subscribe to our thing. This will be my last lecture. Whoever wants more info or anything else, you have to subscribe to our routines. Only then it will make sense. Otherwise, it's just knowledge to your head and nothing really experimental or you're doing. So which I would not encourage. Thank you so much.